Isis too, fish as a movement. Planet Jupiter, Neptune. Water so they clinging forwards, backwards, that is said to dissolving. Devo haunted, gentle.
I believe I have found a piece that expresses everything I can do as a singer.
We still be ourselves.
It's difficult music, it's challenging music, but I just dig right into it and I treat it in a primal way. It consists of all these rhythms, all these mixed time meters, all these extremes, highs and lows, and as people, that's the way we are. So it's rather primal than intellectual.
Devo haunted, so gentle and kind.
I like when I'm on the border of not managing things. You should not be completely comfortable in the beginning. You should be a little bit like, oh my God, how am I going to manage this? That's where the magic can happen. You don't really know. You have to be comfortable feeling uncomfortable.
That's Sophie Dunier, a Swedish-born singer who very definitely is comfortable being uncomfortable. Sophie has recorded 17 eclectic CDs in her career, and although rooted in jazz, she's comfortable in both avant-garde and contemporary classical music, and has performed at venues all over New York, including Carnegie Hall, and throughout Europe. As you'll hear, she has a facility for bringing her jazz background to contemporary music.
Isis too, fish as a movement. Planet Jupiter, Neptune.
I'm Rhonda Hamilton, and I'll be your host as we explore with Sophie a most unusual composition. The excerpt was from Sophie's recent recording of Tierkreis, a 1975 composition by Karlheinz Stockhausen. It was originally written for music boxes, but Stockhausen said it could be performed by a variety of instruments. And in this recording, Sophie manages to bring feelings of jazz, blues, and avant-garde music to the composition. She is accompanied on the Fender Rhodes keyboard by Stephen Beck. Tierkreis is the German word for zodiac. Sophie Dunier has recorded Tierkreis for the label Orlik Audiovisual, and in a few minutes we'll hear all 12 short movements in their entirety.
So I was living in Madrid, Spain, and I was in a moment where I felt I needed to do something else for a while, even though I had been singing contemporary music in a lot of ensembles ever since I started to sing jazz. I wanted to take a break from what I was doing at the moment, and I sent a lot of letters to different composers that I found interesting. And one of them was Stockhausen, and I just wanted to see if it was possible to get a response. So I actually asked him if I could sing in his ensemble. That was a crazy thing to do, but I was just having a crisis. And he responded. He wrote, well, I can hear that you can sing 2.5 octaves, but I need 3 octaves for my ensemble. So could you write me back and tell me if you can sing 3 octaves? I said, oh my God, he really answered. So he invited me to the course, and I came to the course, and he did suggest Tierkreis before I went there. And I did study Tierkreis at the course. Stockhausen said, this is good for my jazz life as well. It contributes to my jazz life. And I did talk to him a couple of times. Yeah, the rest is history. Then I would return to the course next year.
Yes, firefighters, Eastern springtime bursting bud, fast, impossible.
I believe I have found a piece that expresses everything I can do as a singer. It's also a piece that's considered to be the most accessible piece written by Karlheinz Stockhausen. So my experience was that when I gave performances with this piece, even people who are non-musicians actually liked it a lot. It's accessible, and it's my interpretation of the piece is also very emotional. It's difficult music, it's challenging music, but I just dig right into it, and I treat it in a primal way rather than in a... Actually, it consists of all these rhythms, all these mixed time meters, all these extremes, highs and lows, and as people, that's the way we are. So it's rather primal than intellectual. It's actually the opposite of what we thought it was. That's how I feel.
That's an excerpt from Aries, one of the 12 movements in Tierkreis by Karl-Heinz Stockhausen. As Sophie noted, Tierkreis is a musical zodiac. Stockhausen wrote 12 distinct melodies, one for each sign, intending to capture the personality of that sign. And while some of Stockhausen's music is very avant-garde, Tierkreis is different. Because it was originally written for music boxes, it's melodic, and so it's one of the most accessible compositions Stockhausen ever wrote. Here, Sophie talks about Leo. She gives us an outline of the movement, talks about her work with accompanist Stephen Beck, and then takes us through the complete movement, overlaid with her comments.
It's kind of treated like a jazz piece. You in some places you play the melody, but it's more planned than that. Over each movement, first time with melody, second time no melody, third time I improvise. After that, he plays the melody, then I sing again the melody, and then I hum the melody. There's a plan. He's reading from a score that I have had the score for 20 years. It's the one I used at the course. I gave it to him and we rehearsed it. First time we met, he already knew Tierkreis, and so did I, so it was very easy. We just played it. Here I'm starting to sing the melody together with Steve, playing the melody.
Und standhaft großmütig schenkend liebt das Spiel, liebt die Kunst, die Liebe, das Hohe.
Here I'm going up an octave, singing verse number 2 together with Steve, and he's not playing the melody.
Und standhaft großmütig schenkend liebt das Spiel, liebt die Kunst, die Liebe, das Hohe.
Verse number 3, I'm taking a solo. Verse number 4, Steve playing the melody. And you can hear that he's really stretching it a little bit, getting quite jazzy in his, he's making variation. He is making variations. Full blast! Here I'm singing the melody at full blast. Oh wow, yeah. Almost sounds like Louis Armstrong. I'm stretching quite a bit here. And this is verse number 5. And here we are finishing off the piece with verse number 6. It's only 6 verses in this movement because I chose to take 1 verse of solo instead of 2 that I did in Taurus. pitching it quite a bit further from the regular.
Stephen Beck is an acclaimed pianist, a member of the Talea Ensemble, the Knights, and the Da Capo Chamber Players. He's worked with many composers, including Elliott Carter, Pierre Boulez, George Crumb, and Charles Wuorinen. He accompanies Sophie playing the Fender Rhodes. Here, he talks about the instrument and takes us through Sagittarius.
It's an electric piano. It has a sort of metallic sound because you're hitting these metal tines, and I mean it's got a keyboard. Your keys are hitting these metal tines inside the instrument, and it has a very characteristic sound. And then they're amplified electrically, and you can change there are knobs where you can add more vibrato, or you can sort of change the effects a tiny bit. And also just across the range of the instrument, the low notes have such a great clangy sound. Potentially, you can really you can make sounds that you can't make on another instrument, which is really satisfying for me. And so it was really nice to play it and to make use of the different parts of the instrument. This movement is rhythmically intricate, very filled in, and the piano accompaniment is more elaborate than some of the other movements.
Outlook free and open, true, spiritual sees the beyond, reaching out the gate of death, cheerfully, trusting. Argyro Sagittarius, it's fiery as Jupiter's mountain light. Centaurus, half horse, half man, loves nature. Optimistic.
As she gets farther into it, I try to move down from the music box type register, get into the middle of the instrument. There's a lot of staccato, and on the Rhodes, it's nice to feel that combination of the shortness with the richness of the harmonies. It pulled down into the middle. Parts of this accompaniment feel sort of like a walking bass as I get down to the bottom of the thing, which I really liked. My solo is pretty straight, but some of the rhythms I took advantage of kind of the snappiness of them to kind of pop. If there are accents, I try to really. The Rhodes has this great attack on the front of the notes.
Argyro Sagittarius, it's fiery as
When she comes back in, I really playing these kind of clumpy voicings in the bottom of the instrument. Such a great sound.
Outlook free and open, true, spiritual sees the beyond.
And then as we get to the end, move it back up. Accompany her more, I play more of the tune. Yeah, it's good.
Tierkreis was released on the Ehrlich audio-visual label owned by Gene Gaudet. Gene is an independent media producer with over 4 decades in the industry.
Stockhausen, like Glenn Gould, understood the importance and value of using media to get your music into the mainstream. And one of the advantages and disadvantages of recordings is that you can get a very accurate representation of the music, but sometimes you're working so hard to make sure that it's right that a lot of the feeling gets pulled out of it. Tierkreis is his most recorded work, and I had yet to hear a performance of Tierkreis on CD or on vinyl that really conveyed a lot of variety. Now, a pianist that I know, Beth Levin, tipped me off that Sophie had recorded Stockhausen and performed Stockhausen. I said, well, I'd love to get a hold of her. One thing led to another. A copy of the master landed in my inbox, and when I was listening to it, my jaw hit the ground.
This is an excerpt from Taurus.
Taurus bull, earthy, heavy, feminine, through Venus, forming unconscious.
Tierkreis is quite jazzy, in my opinion. Each of the movements sounds like a solo, a jazz solo, because it's full of complex rhythms. It's full of a lot of angular melodies, a lot of shapes, a lot of everything. And for me, as a singer, it's the ultimate piece to sing because it has everything I need to express myself. It has extreme highs and lows. It has a lot of contemporary influences, but it also has jazz in it. For me, that's how I look upon it.
Texture and music unbending.
It really takes, I think, a jazz musician to convey the variety and depth that's in this music. Sophie brought up the notion that some of these pieces may have been written with specific people in mind. And when you think about it that way, Tierkreis is Stockhausen's Enigma Variations, and it really comes through in Sophie's recording unlike anything else I've ever heard. And of course, Steve Beck using a Fender Rhodes, because the music was originally written for solo performer and music boxes. The Fender Rhodes kind of sounds like a 1970s electric music box with not only the timbral sound of the Fender Rhodes, but also the kind of little electronic glitches that slip in. So this was the perfect combination for conveying Stockhausen. I had to release it.
That was Jean Gaudet, Sophie, and excerpts from Taurus from their album Tierkreis, or Zodiac, by Karl-Heinz Stockhausen. As Sophie notes here in conversation with Jean, use of the Fender Rhodes was a key part of the recording and Jean's eagerness to release it.
There is a layer of soft harmony baked into the Fender Rhodes that actually assist me. It's easier to improvise on top of that. Because with piano only, it's very nice, but it's a different thing. So I actually liked the fact that he did use. It turned out to be a great success, the Fender Rhodes.
It also worked really well in the recording because the Fender Rhodes almost envelops you like an environment around your voice, as well as either accompanying or playing off against you.
Exactly.
And this is the other great thing about Tierkreis. It's so much instrumental jazz music is based on the theme and variations form. And it's almost a natural fit for this particular Stockhausen piece.
It is. Yeah, just by accident. It was not planned.
Well, it worked out as if it was planned.
Here's a brief excerpt from Pisces, with Sophie commenting.
In some of the Stockhausen's music, there is theatrical elements. So this kind of evolved, all this theatrical part in me. I become it. I'm not pretending, I become it. So it's all natural. But that's actually contributes to the fact that people can get convinced with difficult stuff. So I think that helps to the fact that the audience will understand. It's not about understanding it. It's about feeling it.
Pisces too, fishes and movement.
I can identify with Pisces. I think that's why I really feel I can make a sensitive interpretation of this piece. I feel like I would have an ascendant in this sign because everything, the description of how this sign, the character of the sign is, I have some of those traits in Scorpio. But I like the melody. I like the shapes. I like the dynamics of this sign and this melody, this movement.
Neptune, waters of Lake
However, it was very hard to make a solo on top of this harmony, so I did not do that.
So gentle and kind, sudden willfulness into a shining dreams. We still be the same.
I like when I'm on the border of not managing things. Like David Bowie once said, he said that you should do things that you're not totally comfortable with, because then artistically then you're doing the right thing. Then you're onto something. You should not be completely comfortable in the beginning. You should be a little bit like, oh my God, how am I going to manage this? But that's where the stuff happens. For me, I have to be on the border of not being able to do it, because there's a lot of artistic, emotional opportunities there, and not to be scared of it. I'd rather fall than crash than just be some boring, safe person. You really have to be ready to crash, but that's where the magic can happen. And there are some areas like that. You don't know. I'm stretching it, and it might be like, oh my God. But, I think that's how I like to do art. It has to be on the edge of you don't really know. You have to be comfortable feeling uncomfortable.
Pisces to fishes in movement, planet Jupiter, Neptune, water softly clinging formless, for her words backwards and is a day dissolving, devoted, so gentle and kind, sudden willfulness and to a shining dreams. We still be the same.
That's Sophie Dunier, the Swedish-born singer who, along with Stephen Beck on the Fender Rhodes, has recorded Karlheinz Stockhausen's composition, Tierkreis, Zodiac, on Jean Gaudet's Orlik audiovisual label. Our thanks to Sophie Dunier,